They laughed when I said I'd call the cops. Actually laughed. My own mother, the woman who raised me, and her husband, sitting on that cheap leather couch they bought with my money, pretending I was some dramatic child throwing a tantrum. I remember the sound. Her laugh was nervous, his was cruel. And I knew right then they thought I'd never do it. They thought I'd stay quiet, like always. But I wasn't their scared kid anymore. The beginning. Trust when Mom remarried. I wanted to believe it was a fresh start. She'd been through enough, raising me alone, juggling bills, crying quietly in the kitchen when she thought I couldn't hear. So when Mark came into her life, I tried to welcome him. He was polite, steady, the kind of man who talked about family unity and future security. He told me, "We're all building something together now." I believed him. So I worked hard. Double shifts at the cafe, freelancing online, saving every rupee I could for my own apartment, something that would finally be mine. Every deposit I made into that joint account felt like a step toward freedom. Mom said it was safer that way, until you're ready. I trusted her. I trusted them. The discovery. It started with silence, the kind that hums under your skin when something doesn't add up. I'd applied for a small loan to cover closing costs on a studio I'd been eyeing. The bank called, said my balance wasn't what I thought. I logged in, and there it was. Zero. Not low, not missing, gone. At first, I thought it was a mistake. I called Mom. She sounded flustered, said she'd look into it. But her tone, that practiced calm, made my stomach turn. Then, one night, I stopped by unannounced. I heard them before I saw them. Her voice was soft. His was smug. "Well, she'll understand eventually. It's all family." Family. That word hit me harder than the truth. They'd used my money, every rupee, as a down payment for an apartment. Not for me, for her daughter, my stepsister. I stood there in the hallway, hearing them laugh about how well it worked out. I didn't cry, not then. I just froze. Then something inside me shifted. The shift. Revenge isn't fire, it's ice. It takes patience to watch people hang themselves with their own arrogance. I didn't confront them immediately. I acted normal. I smiled, I visited, I even congratulated my stepsister on her big move. All the while, I was gathering proof. Bank statements, transfer receipts, audio recordings, everything. I visited the lawyer who once helped my mother through her divorce. He remembered me. He listened quietly, nodding, occasionally muttering, "You'll need documentation." I had it. He explained how misappropriating funds, especially from a joint account without consent, could qualify as fraud and theft. That night, I sat in my car outside their new apartment. The lights glowed through the windows. They were having dinner, laughing, happy. I remember whispering to myself, "Enjoy it. You've paid for every brick." The execution. A week later, I sent them an email. Polite, cold, detailed. I listed every transfer, every unauthorized withdrawal, every legal reference I'd been given. Then I wrote one final line. "You have 48 hours to return the full amount to my personal account." After that, I call the police. No threats, no emotion, just facts. For 2 days, silence. Then came the call. Mom's voice trembled, asking if we could talk. Mark took the phone, tried to sound authoritative. He said, "We're family. You don't call the cops on family." I said, "You should have thought about that before you stole from me." And then I hung up. They thought I wouldn't follow through. So when the police knocked on their door 3 days later, Mark's arrogance finally cracked. Fraud investigation, bank statements, recorded proof. They spent the night at the station. By morning, the money appeared back in my account. Every rupee, plus interest. The climax. I went to see them once more. Mom sat at the dining table, eyes red, hands trembling. Mark didn't look at me, just stared at the floor, jaw tight. She whispered, "You didn't have to do that." I looked at her, really looked, and realized she wasn't the woman who raised me anymore. Somewhere between love and survival, she'd become someone I couldn't recognize. I said, quietly, "No, Mom, you didn't have to make me." And I walked out. The resolution. I didn't celebrate. I didn't post about it. I just moved into my new apartment, the one I bought with my own money, reclaimed and clean. The first night there, I sat by the window with a cup of tea. Outside, the city lights flickered like distant fireflies. And for the first time in years, I felt still. Justice doesn't roar. It whispers. And that whisper, the quiet knowledge that they'll never forget what I did, was louder than any apology they could ever give. Because when they laughed at me that day, they thought I was weak. Now, every time they see a police